Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. And it's middle of the week, it's Wednesday, so we're going to do something a little bit different today. Also, you got no cast yesterday, so I kind of feel obliged to call it Midweek Madness, 2 for the price of 1, double dollops, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to try or endeavor to bring you 2 replays today to make up for no cast yesterday, so we're on more of a consistent kind of 4 or 5 replay basis for the week. There's a couple of reasons for it as well. Specifically, I'm sitting on a couple of decent Canis 4v4 special edition replays, and I thought rather than space them out, I thought we could have a little Canis mini series day today. Why the hell not? And secondly, there's one particular replay that I wanted to do, and I wanted to do it soon because it features a guy who has probably sent me more replays than half of the rest of you put together. And I'm a bit concerned that if I don't cast him soon, his head's going to explode or he's going to have an embolism or something, and I really don't want his death on my hands. So it's not just health and safety reasons, mind you. I'm sure you'll agree it's going to be a very entertaining replay today, but I'm not going to mention who it is. He'll know. But suffice to say, that's my thinking. Anyway, as I said, it's going to be Canis Special Edition 4v4, and the players are ready, so let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. And as we know, taking a little bit of a break from the overlays. Still haven't made up my mind whether I'm going to bring them back or not. Lots of you saying that you don't miss them, so I'm kind of leaning towards not bringing them back yet, but like I say, I haven't made any decisions. Let's take a look at the teams. We'll call this Team 1 up here at the top, and this Team 2 down here at the bottom. Taking a look at the players for Team 1. Here we go. Up here at the top, we have my good friend Vexy in Hallyborange Orange going UEF, opening first land. To his right and secondly, for Team 1, it's Robo Danny in his Vivacious Violet opening first land, also going UEF. To his right, R.A. Zlo going his ever so customary and ever evil Cybrin in Lurid Green and opening first land. And last but definitely not least for Team 1, in Elephantine Grey running up front, it's Strogo, and he's going Seraphim, also opening first land. So those are the 4 players for Team 1. Let's take a look at Team 2. Down here at the bottom right in mellow yellow, it's Jide. It might be Jide, but I'm going to call him Jide because it sounds exotic. Anyway, he's going Cybrin, opening first land. To his left over here in Cyanide Scion, we've got Yudi, and he's going Aeon, opening first air, second land. To his left over here in his customary Ferrari red, TGX Legend Law going Cybrin. A lot of Cybrin players in this match today. And last but not least, up front for Team 2 going Aeon in Baby Blue, opening first land, going second air, it's Elysium. So those are the players, and that's how they stack up. God, I was actually getting ready to get rid of the overlay there. It's not actually there. That shows you how imprinted one's mind can get once you've done a certain number of these, which has to be agreed. I've done a certain number now. I think I'm approaching 250 or something crazy like that. But Elysium expanding up front with 3 engineers, couple of engineers moving out west for TGX Legend Law. All very standard stuff so far. We've got a crossing of the river there from Jide, already building a land factory on the eastern bank of that river. Up front, we've got Strogo for Team 1, moving forward there with his ACU, grabbing that Hydro as early as possible. See, that's a slightly different play to the way Elysium's doing it. He's just utilizing engineers. And where is his ACU? Seems like it's gone wandering somewhere. There we go. It's right in the middle, staring me in the face. If it was a dog, it would have bitten me. Anyway, he's on the move, taking a slightly different tack, though. Not going to work on any of the stuff around here. He wants to move right the way up here, being quite aggressive in the early game, it would seem. And Yudi is crossing the river now, and it's going to sync up with Jide, but you can see Team 1 looking a little bit more aggressive with their ACU. Vexy and Robo Danny a little bit further forward compared to their mirrors on the other side of the map. Vexy going to grab 4 land factories around that Hydro. Robo Danny working on one as well. And we've already got the first odd little bits of encounters going on somewhere on the map. Can't quite see where. But Aurora and a couple of Auroras and a Spirit, sorry, incoming for Elysium. Looking to see if they can probably pick off an engineer or two. There's 1 or 2 vulnerable ones for Strogo out front, if he's careful with the way he maneuvers up front. He might be able to bag one or two of them. Doesn't want to run into other such units though, like the Tham sitting on the center of the landmass, or he could just open up on it, which is what he's going to do. That'll shut me up. But doesn't want to get jumped on by any reinforcing units. Another Tham, another Zui, and a couple more Thams actually, well aware of the threat, going to move out, try and take them out. First thing to go down is the Selen. That might lose them a little bit of vision, but it's not going to matter. They've homed in on where the danger was coming from. Deal with those two Auroras nicely. Vexy looking like he's getting well established over here in the west, queuing up a bunch of wall sections as well. Walls often feature quite heavily on Canis 4v4 Special Edition. You can see Zlo already going for him over in the east. Wants to seal off this plateau, and it's a pretty significant defensive position that if you can stop your opponents coming up the aperture, you can put all kinds of PD up on the ridge, and that gives you a little bit of extra firing distance and decent cover for shutting down the inevitable push that's going to come this way. You could see Jade already marching forward with his ACU there, but you really can see the difference between these guys. He's just arrived, he's got a land factory queued up, hasn't made any start yet on that Hydro, whereas Vexy already has 3, nearly 4 factories operational. He's got the Hydro, so a little bit of forward development going on quicker there. And by the same token, of course, TGX Legend Law not being quite so aggressive on that plateau as Zlo has been, so generally Team 1 looking like they've pushed a little bit harder on the extremities, the edges of this map. That could be telling later on in the game. If these guys get established, could be an uphill battle for Team 2 to fight their way out of it. Legend Law throwing an upgrade on his comm, only half done. And he's going to run into the first kind of forward scouting force of strikers there from Vexy. Got a couple of archers in there as well for some anti-air fire. Not going to need those. It's not going to help him for the moment. But Legend Law dusts those aside without any real difficulties. Always going to happen with the ACU on site, as it were. Jade moving out meanwhile, working on some of these Mantis belonging to Zlo. Where's Zlo's ACU? He's not far away. He's pretty much in the middle here. So he's on site to prevent Jade from moving too far forward. Strogo being pinged. Probably a friendly ping there, asking him to cross over. There's a lot of build capacity on this side of the river that he could take advantage of, trying to get an Eruptor in play here. Not going to be successful though, however, as Strogo emerges from the river with the gun upgrade in hand. You can see that rate of fire just rinsing through that build capacity, and a bunch of his Zuis turn up at the same time as well to put the uncompleted PD structure away for keeps. Legend Law gets himself back on top of the ridge. You can see he's queuing up a Cerberus turret there, so that would have been the T2 engineering suite he was throwing on his commander a little bit earlier, and that's good news for Team 1. At least he's going to manage, we presume, to secure this plateau. It doesn't look like Vexy's got anything coming down that way anytime soon. He's throwing an upgrade on his commander, probably wants to match that tech upgrade, but Strogo and Robo Danny looking quite aggressive here, pummeling Elysium's forward production facility. They've already taken down the hydrocarbon. 3 factories taken out of commission, and I doubt the 4th is going to survive either. There it goes. And now T2 mechs under pressure as well. So Team 1 looking in a pretty good position here. The bulge for their front line is right here in the center. Follows Zlo down here, comes round in the center. Danny pushing on forward, trying to get a run by into Team 2's base. Bombers overhead trying to stop him, as well as some Auroras turning up from UD, trying to stop him picking off that T2 mechs as it drops well down into the red. It's going to be close, and it survives with 48 hit points. And UD announces it in local chat. Legend Lord trying to repel Vexy, meanwhile, over on the western edge of the map, trying to maintain control of this plateau. Cerberus turret looking very weakened indeed, just 60 hit points left, and finally gets finished off by a flapjack. So we have access to T2 tech over here on the field for Vexy. That's going to make life difficult for Legend Lord. He's going to have to think about getting a zapper up or two if he starts facing plenty of mobile missile launchers. That has to be next on the list. Strogo, meanwhile, in the middle, still trying to hold on to this land that they've recently acquired in the center. ACU looking nasty with their rate of fire on that cannon right now. Does he have access to overcharge? Yes, he does, and then some. Store up at least 2 overcharges with the amount of energy he's got, but a nice little run by from Legend Lore. Danny trying to chase down this group of Mantis with his ACU. Of course, ACU not fast enough to prevent them from getting up here to the top corner. They'll be able to take this out, but of course Mantis, not being amphibious, won't be able to cross the river. They'll have to back up and presumably will meet Robo Danny's comm on the way back. At least be able to inflict some damage to Team 1. Vexy going to be losing the mass storage and that T2 mechs. But Vexy continues to be aggressive up front. And this plateau that I was pretty assured that Legend Lord was going to be able to hold on to, seems to have been taken now. Vexy's T2 turning up at just the right time. He's got a bunch of pillars on that ridge now. And Legend Lord forced to back up. Is he going to make a stand further back or try to retake that in a little while? Action happening in the middle meanwhile. Jade and Yudi looking like they're making a push here. Got a couple of T2 engineers roaming around from Zlo. They managed to throw together a Cerberus turret in the middle. But as the Mantis pour through, it's not going to be able to keep up with the number of units coming in from Jade. Elysium, of course, Aeon as well, so he's able to cross. Strogo dipping in and out of the river, not wanting to take too much fire from this band of T1. I think this is a little bit of a mistake. They might be over pushing here. All they've got is T1, and there's 4 T2 PDs in place in the middle here for Strogo. They might be looking for a run by up this way, but they're cutting it far too close to the middle and losing far too many units. Elysium's force has been pretty much taken out. We've also got the odd Ilshiva roaming around in the middle for Strogo, making life even more difficult for these two players as they try to get any kind of penetration. And now we've got Stingers turning up as well from Robo Danny. That's going to be the end of that little attack. No real damage inflicted there for Team 2. Got the odd Mercy out for Elysium as well. Snipe if possible, Yudi's saying. So obviously looking for some kind of hit on Strogo, I'd imagine. Looks like he's mildly out of the water there. Getting another upgrade on the comm. In the meantime, Zlo going absolutely haywire with the wall sections. Walls within walls. Doesn't want anything getting past him on that side of the map. And of course, as you would expect, Zlo being far and away the highest rated player in this game has a significantly stronger eco than just about everybody else. Vexy and Jade seem to be running almost joint second place on 75, but Zlo way out in front on 90. And he is going to be the main concern for Team 2 over the course of this game, though it has to be said, Vexy is making a royal nuisance of himself over here in the west. Tons upon tons of pillars mounting on this side of the map now. The odd bomber coming across from Legend Lore, not going to get anything done though, thanks to the Archer coverage. But we do have T3 on the field for Legend Lore. He's got 3 or 4 loyalists on the pitch. As Vexy wheels right with his ground forces, Legend Lore's going to get in behind them, do as much damage as possible, hardy group of Spectres on the field as well for Elysium, and some swift wins, decent coverage from UD. So the two Aeon players for Team 2 looking like they're investing pretty heavily in air in this one so far. We'll see how that goes for them. It's kind of a sensible move, of course. Aeon having the stronger air prospects generally of all the races, and of course Team 1 not featuring any Aeon players, so that is an advantage they're obviously trying to exploit in this one. The odd unit of Iosheva floating around in the middle there for Strogo. The floating flak for Seraphim could make life difficult. They definitely don't want to hover there. That is a bad place to park your units. Finally they realize the danger and prioritize those Ioshevas, taking them out. Now they can feel free to work on these Elshevas. But that was a lot more damage than they needed to take there. And you can see the focus now for Strogo is floating flak, mobile flak, those Ioshevas. Need to deal with these gunships as soon as possible. Zlo comes in with his interceptors trying to thin them out, but Yudi and Jade come to the rescue with overwhelming air superiority. Need to be careful though. Lots of flak turning up on the field for Strogo. Zlo asking for more air power from his teammates. Jade's going to want to extend his Zappa coverage over here, as Zlo seems to be filling up his frontline ranks with Vipers. And in come the Spectres once again, but they realize just how much flak is waiting for them. And Elysium is forced to turn around. It's going to have to give that middle of the map a wide berth now. It's a lot of flak, but tac missiles incoming from... where's that going from? Elysium's got a little firebase up here at the front. 3 tac missile launchers just taking down a T2 P-Gen there belonging to Strogo. And reactionary building immediately employed. Strogo throwing together TMD at the front, wants to put a stop to that tac missile barrage right now. We've also got some more around Strogo's comm there. He doesn't want to get sniped anytime soon. Well aware that he's out front. That's good coverage, good play there from him. Taking a look at Eco, RA Zlo still well out in front, 130 this time. Jade bouncing up between 110 to 70, probably suffering power problems. There we go, major power deficit at the moment. Gonna have to get that sorted ASAP. Legend Lore looking pretty good on 106. And Vexy also having the odd power fluctuation, I guess, as well. He's got around 113, 116 mass per tick coming in when his power issues are settled. But that's a lot of T3 on the field down here at the western edge of the map for Legend Lore. He's also got some trebuchets in the mix. It's not just for loyalists. Looking like he wants to hurt, sting Vexy, soften him up at range. If he can take down some of these shield gens, maybe knock out some of the PD, he'll be in good shape to stomp his way in with those loyalists. Probably do with getting some bricks on the field in the meantime as well. We'll see how Vexy keeps up with that artillery spam. Get more units making their way out front. Monkey Lord queued up at the front as well for Legend Lore. Another upgrade going on his comm there. Strogo's still sitting pretty out front. The odd Aurora coming in there for Elysium just to test the water, see what's waiting out there for him. Vexy doesn't like the incoming fire, is going to march his troops forward, probably unaware of the amount of loyalists that are waiting for him. Those parashields offering some pretty good coverage initially. Once they go down, not so much left for him, but credit where credit's due. He's actually repelling Legend Lore. This is where bricks would have been ideal. At least 1 or 2 bricks, he would have torn his way through that. But Robo Danny now getting involved as well. Swarm of T1 coming in to assist Vexy. They're not going to last too long against the Loyalists, it has to be said. Spectres take off once again, going after some Ilshivas up front. The Ioshivas spring into action. Elysium needs to be careful, doesn't want to throw away those at all. RA's low, obviously smarting from the air encounters earlier on, has made the transition straight to T3 air and now has ASFs in play. Yudi though has kept pace with him. He's got a couple of ASFs on the field, and once again Slow going to have to back up. But he is going to manage to drag a whole lot of Jadei's Intis over the top of those Ioshivas. Luckily they don't hang around, they hang a hairpin turn and beat a retreat back to safer territory. Vexy being very aggressive. It's nice to say, yes, he's losing a lot of units with these little encounters when he goes up against these Loyalists, but the important thing is he's keeping these Trebuchets out of range of his base long enough for him to re-establish. So you can see the Trebuchets moving forward again. How is he responding in here? He's getting Percivals on the field and also throwing some Ravagers in the mix. So busy tanking up that little fire base over there in the west. Meanwhile, over in the east, 2 mini shielded fire bases have sprung up for Zlo versus the 1 forward base that's quite sparsely populated with defensive structures there for Jadei. Jadei's come way back here on another upgrade, but I think this might be ambitious, especially since we've got Trebuchet fire starting to rain down now in the mix. We have 1 Trebuchet there from Jadei also firing in riposte, but with Zlo's eco 176 versus 135. I don't fancy Jadei's chances holding on to that. And now we're seeing T3 emerge over in the west for Vexy. He's playing a bit of a blinding game. Every time Legend Lore looks like he might be getting established over here on this side of the map, Vexy changes it up and pushes him back. That's a lot of Trebuchets though. He'd love to take those out. Percival's tanking like a boss. Legend Lord definitely going to need to get some bricks on the field as soon as possible. Spectres out once again for Elysium, coming to assist. Needs to be a little bit careful. We've got the odd air cleaner under shield coverage back here. The Vexy doesn't want to get tangled up with those. Legend Lore saying he needs mass as soon as possible, and you can see why. He's coming up to 75% complete on Monkey Lord there. Anti-nuke fast, says Yudi. I don't know if they've seen anything. Another Monkey Lord under construction down here at the back for Jadei. More upgrades going on for Elysium. I'm not seeing any nukes out at the moment for Team 1, but it is just getting to that time in the game. You can see they're working on a nuke eliminator. 25 minutes, you want to be careful. You can never be certain that you've covered every inch of ground with your scouting. They may well be putting together a nuke somewhere and you've missed it, but an Ethota going up there in the middle there for Strogo. So definitely getting to that point of the game where experimentals expecting to feature, but an attack on Zlo's front line going quite well actually for Jadei. Manages to take out the shield gen. Fortunately he couldn't push on and get rid of the Trebuchets there as well, but he certainly weakened that little forward position. Zlo has loyalists of his own in place now, however. And now we're seeing some bricks out for Legend Lore. That's going to make life a little bit tougher for Vexy. At least he has Percy's on the field, so the stalemate, or more or less stalemate, continues on this side of the map. Megalith under construction meanwhile there for Legend Lore. Having completed that Monkey Lord, he switches out. Monkey Lord makes his way forward. Danny needs to be careful not to lose these demolishers up front. they don't have time to undeploy and back up, but a hardy group of ASFs now in play for Zlo, who really is carrying the banner at the moment, carrying the torch for Team 1's air power. To be fair, Robo Danny though joining the fray with the ASF game. He's got a handful building up at the back there. And now it's Zlo's turn to test the water with his loyalists. They're going to meet overwhelming force and have to back up. But the amount of mobile artillery fire coming out of Zlo's corner here and raining down on Team 2 is a little bit scary. And now we've got Revenants coming in as well. Strap bombers for the Cyber Nation, taking pot shots at the formated forces there. It doesn't look like any ground's going to be gained on either side down here at the moment. Too many Percivals for that Monkey Lord to risk pushing. And if those Percivals make their own play on this base, the Spectres and Monkey Lord under shield coverage would cause catastrophic damage to their ranks. We've got a Tsar under construction over here, presumably for UD, that's what it looks like. Colossus half done as well. And now that Ithota we saw earlier being constructed for Strogo is complete, and it's going to get a kill on this Monkey Lord for Jide. Monkey Lords can be fantastic, but standing up against other experimentals toe-to-toe just don't have the hit points. Jide doing a pretty good job, it has to be said. 2v1 more or less at the moment over on this side. Could really do with some bricks though, especially now that we're in that phase of the game where experimentals are going to become more prevalent. Galactic Colossus 76% complete and climbing now for UD. And not such a large gap between Zlo and UD anymore in terms of mass. 227 plays 226, so virtually identical, an extra K in power. But look at the difference on reclaim. 24,000 reclaim gone into the coffers there for Zlo. Conversely, just 7K for UD. That's not surprising considering UD is essentially sitting on an 800 point deficit in terms of ranking, global ladder ranking. That's what he's giving away to Zlo there. And GC online for UD, Tsar under construction. Jide starts another Monkey Lord but doesn't commit to the build. Thota heavily damaged but still operational. As the shield collapses once again at the front for Jide, I don't hold out any real hope for him holding on to that base. A couple of bricks turning up right at the edge of the map as well to top it all off. And Jide just doesn't have anything on the field to deal with that. There are, however, a whole bunch of restorers in the middle for Elysium that could come to his aid. The bricks being pinged, it looks like the restorers are en route. Zlo can't exactly take them out with the ASFs he's got, especially not with UD. But he is going to be able to knock out at least one T3 mechs. There it goes. Come the restorers. Zlo backs up. Once again, these balls of Ioshivas roaming around in the middle for Strogo, severely limiting Elysium's ability to use his air power, especially in the center of the map. But anyway, he dispatches those bricks. saves Jiday's eastern flank, at least for the moment. That's going to be a nice artillery piece. Lands squarely on top of those trebuchets that are trying to make it under shield coverage. Join the Othota. And we've actually got some Gunthers going up for Zlo, so some static T2 to add to Team 2's issues. As if the mobile T3 wasn't bad enough. We have also got some miasmas, some Aeon static T2 there for Elysium. See just where that can reach to. So this little fire base here in range of those. So that's not a bad little play from Elysium, wanting to add a bit of pressure to Zlo, who's so dominant on this side of the map at the moment and has been for essentially the last 20 minutes or so. But Megalith complete for Legend Lore over in the west. He's got that Monkey Lord as well. See, I think you could just get in here and start haranguing this base. And obviously these Perseus and Titans are things like, well, not as much the Titans. Obviously the Perseus are the main things to worry about. There are a lot of Titans in that mix. But Vexley wisely tying up this Megalith. Legend Lore not free to go and harass Danny or put pressure on the middle. He has to stay over here, at least with the Megalith, if he wants to prevent Vexy from pushing his way forward. His response to that is to try and build a whole bunch of Gunthers down here. So a lot of artillery being employed in this match so far. Tsar operational now for Yudi. 33.5 minutes gone in this one so far. Elysium moves forward with the Restorers just for a moment, but wisely doesn't hang around to get embroiled in any kind of air fracas with Zlo's ASFs. That wouldn't turn out well for him at all, unless of course he'd get some assistance from his teammate Yudi there. But that's a whole bunch of Strat Bombers. Where are the ACUs for Team 2, or Team 1, sorry, Strogo up there. So this could be potential snipe on the cards, but I'd say they're pretty well sheltered. Vexy's still hovering around there. He's got a couple of support commanders on the go as well. So if they are going to snipe, it's not going to be an easy one. Another little attempt at a push over here in the east for Zlo. Countered, unfortunately, just with Loyalists, though. Fortunately, there aren't quite enough bricks in play for Zlo on that side of the map for them to complete the conquest. But look at the amount of trebuchets under shield coverage at the front there for Zlo, just peppering Jiday and Yudi's front line. And that shield gen about to buckle under the pressure. And this is not looking good, but they have got this Tsar. I'm going to slow this down because there is a hell of a lot going on. 35 minutes gone. No players outed yet. Multiple fronts in combat as we speak. Yudi hovering around the front, giving himself a bit of screening cover with the ASFs. Elysium coming in to join him. But Elysium looking like he's getting ready, getting prepared to use those strats. See if we can highlight the route he's planning to take. Looks like he's, or was thinking about coming up this way. How many strat bombers is that? 17 strats. That's a lot of damage. The game heavily laden with units at this point. Vexy has a Fat Boy in play, but of course Fat Boys don't stand up too well against Megalith that have fantastic range, and Yudi has gifted that Tsar over to Elysium, who's taking it right to deal with yet another little push over here in the east. from Zlo. Yet more bricks. Got to be real careful though. There's a little bunch of flak down there, and of course the ASFs that he can bring in at any point. Yudi's going to need to be on point with his own ASFs if he's to protect it. Zlo already moving out. Yudi responds. We've also got some ASFs in play from Jade. Zlo thinking about it, but not committing at the moment. Strap bombers in play as well as the restorers there from Elysium. But this is not a wise move. They're going to be flying directly over a whole load of skyboxers from Robo Danny. And that's going to go really badly for him as those strats just fall out of the sky, taking even more flak fire from Strogo's forces, and the Tsar taken out over there by Zlo. It's a terrible, terrible succession of events for Team 2. The best they can hope to come out of this now is that they win on air over the edge of the map against Zlo with their combined forces. Yudi needs to stop running away. He doesn't want to allow Zlo to get in behind him. Elysium brings him his own restorers, but Yudi not happy. Bombers and Tsar wasted there by Elysium. That's how he feels about it anyway. Fat Boy up front now for Danny. But like I say, don't go well toe-to-toe against the Megalith. Just having problems designating a target between Vexy's Fat Boy and Danny's. Brick's taking quite a pummeling as well. He needs to get at least one of these out of commission so he can focus on the other, at least tying it up. Restorer's still hovering, looking for targets, still keeping this eastern flank relatively safe. All the time Zlo building up more, and the gap has once again widened now between Yudi's income and Zlo, the two top income players in this game at the moment. Zlo significantly ahead, and there we have it. Legend Law's Megalith having no problems waltzing through Vexy's Fat Boy there. Yeah, hit points far too much for a Fat Boy to contend with once it gets into range, and there's not a great deal of difference in range between these two guys. You can see that red line there for the Megalith. You take a look at the Fat Boy. Yes, it's bigger, but I mean, you're talking about a difference of about that much for a relative difference of essentially 70,000 hit points. As Strogo gets up front with his Ethota, he's going to open up on the Megalith. Well, it's taking fire from the Fat Boy back here as well from Danny. Law could be losing that pretty soon. A nice little push on the ground as well, ground and air there from Danny. Looks like Elysium's got it under control with his restorers, but a heavy push over on the eastern front there for Zlo, and Jade has just collapsed under the weight of T3 ground that's come his way. Zlo comes in with his ASFs to afford some protection against those strats and restorers. Elysium's had to split his restorers to cover two areas at the same time. GC's up front in the meantime though for Yudi. The front one drops down. I think they're going to be able to bag the Monkey Law for Zlo. There it goes. Now he goes to work on the bricks, but Ethota incoming from Strogo. And of course that's yet more mass being deposited right on the front lines in front of Zlo's base. Monkey Lord guarding the ridge over in the west. Meanwhile, for Legend Law, a ton of bricks in the area. You know what? If he made a decent push now, he could cause some damage up here. And that's not actually Vexy's comm. That's a support commander. Vexy's comm not there either. He's being very tricky indeed. Where is your commander? It's way back here. So, out of the danger zone. That's enough to fool just about anybody. And we have got a nuke launcher in play now for Jade. And that nuke very nearly done. I'd say 90 to 95% or so. Not much in it. But the eastern flank just getting rolled now by Team 1. Strogo strolling in with 2 chickens. Handful of loyalists as well to add to their woes from Zlo. And of course all that mass going into Zlo's coffers as well. How much reclaim has he banked? 73,000 compared to say Yudi's 8,000. Vexy 32,000. It does look as though Team 1's getting a significantly better deal of the reclaim as well in this one. And Legend Law getting his hands on his old megalith wreck. Not going to hold on to it for long, I don't think. Danny coming in with the Fat Boy, going straight after those engineers. And these restorers for Elysium, at least serving Team 2 pretty well. Slow coming in to make a pass, but Yudi is in the area as well. Luckily for him, timings don't sync up, and that's a bad place to be parked when Strogo strolls in with all of his Ioshivas. That's a hell of a lot of flak. Yudi flies in over the top, but the restorers have been pasted, and now Strogo sitting on Team 2's doorstep. Yudi gets himself back underwater, but that nuke completed now for Jade. Where is it going? There's too much going on the map. I can't see. It looks like it's going over towards Vexy's firebase. He hasn't had time, I don't think, to get an anti-nuke in place on that side of the map, so that's going to take the pressure off Legend Law a little bit. Perhaps now he'll be able to make some kind of gain on this left-hand side. There it goes. Vexy's done a great job of holding on to that part of the map in the course of this game, but unfortunately nuke takes it out. GC out front for Elysium, buying Team 2 a little bit of time. And look at the amount of trebuchets in place for Zlo. He's going to want to be continually moving it lest he takes regular artillery damage. Chicken standing in the water for Strogo, ready and waiting as a hail of artillery shells land down on top of it. Can't even see the GC as this is going on. So much artillery fire. And that's going to be another experimental down for Team 2. Yudi joining the Restorer race, and Zlo struggling to keep up with them, it has to be said. More units being airlifted in as well for Zlo, and you can see Legend Law seizing the opportunity now to make some kind of modest push. Doesn't go too far though. Danny's got too much on the ground. He certainly should have his megalith in here picking away. I know he doesn't want to take Fat Boy. Actually, 2 Fat Boys in play. I probably spoke too soon on that one. But still, all players still in play in this game. 43 minutes gone. No one yet has succumbed. Admittedly, it's not looking great at the moment for Team 2. You can see that's the kind of area they're sitting on, around about 33% map control, but a nice little run by up on the left-hand edge of the map, the western edge for Legend Law with his Monkey Lord. Pops a support commander on the way, so manages to knock down a few mexes. But what have we got here? Jade with the Telemazer snipe goes straight after Zlo, takes him out of the game. Will be able to get back in time. I cannot see what's going on in there. That's another explosion, I think. Has he gone? Yes, he has. But that's a trade-off for Team 2's worst eco player against Team 1's best. And as all of Zlo's stuff goes up on the eastern edge, that is an outrageously good turn of events there for Team 2. It was unfortunate they couldn't get Jade back. There goes all of his stuff. But certainly that couldn't have gone better. That must have bought them at least a little bit of time to get back in this. Nice work from him. Monkey Lord making his way up the edge still, taking some continental fire, but Yudi should be able to remedy that with his ASFs. There they go. The Fat Boy coming in from Vexy, though, probably not going to allow that Monkey Lord to get into the main base and do any more damage. But is that long-range T3 artillery fire I spy? Yes, it is. Heavy artillery installation. Was talking about this with Washi the other day, or in fact yesterday. He's still under the impression that people don't build this anymore. I'm seeing it in more and more games. People waking up to the fact that it is viable once you hit the 40-minute mark, really, in a game. 45-minute mark. And Strogo now going to be causing all kinds of problems in the main base, not only with his artillery fire, but also with the two chickens walking in the front door and managed to bag Elysium standing out front, waiting for them. Legend Lore was coming in with the megalith, but too little too late, and suddenly, in the last 5 minutes, all hell has broken loose in this game. We've lost 3 players, and that is a major blow now to Team 2, who were just about getting back in this, and now things look very bad indeed. At least they managed to take down one, and now probably the second chicken as well. Just 4,200 HP left on that puppy, and if Legend Lore would get his arse in gear and turn around that megalith, he should be able to finish him off. There he goes. And all that's left down here is some anti-air. That's not going to concern them. He could take this opportunity to pop it with the megalith, but he probably has the feeling right now like he wants to get more stuff done with it. It's going to be hard. There are a ton of Fat Boys emerging over in the middle western portion of the map now for Team 1, but Yudi has airdropped his commander up here and is now starting a major T1 build. How does that look from Team 1's perspective? That looks pretty good. They know it's there, and that's where the pinging is going from. Well aware that something is under construction on that side of the map. And as the megalith emerges on the northern bank there for Legend Lore, we're about to see what if anything he can get done with that experimental. We have still got some ASFs in play for Team 2, but if they bring them in, they're going to get slaughtered against the larger number there from RoboDanny. And that means no defense for Legend Lore's experimental against these stingers. Danny running a nice screen for his gunships there, and also getting an experimental involved, getting that Fat Boy from the walkway in play, and that will be the end of that megalith, placing yet another experimental in easy reclaimable distance range for Team 1. But a Scathis in play for Legend Lore down here at the bottom. Now, what has he got in range from that position? Well, everything from RoboDanny's forward base is fair game, but Strogo's artillery pieces are locking onto it now. And of course, those artillery pieces not in range for the Scathis, so they're going to be able to fire straight and directly upon it. And mass further construction from... how many is that? That is... 19 land factories there for Yudi. But T1 at this point in the game, it's very hard to get anything going damage-wise. You can see Strogo tooling up there with T2 point defense, and now Danny getting a Fat Boy back in play as well to help defend. But that Scathis on the move. You can see the artillery bombardment coming in there from Strogo, and now Vexy and Danny making a play on this bottom base for Legend Lore. Scathis under pressure. He's never going to be able to keep that alive. 7,000 hit points and falling, plummeting now. And there it goes, and Legend Lore under major pressure, cut off from the main original base. And I think this is the name on the dotted line of the death warrant for Team 2. Legend Lore going to be taking long-range Fat Boy fire now with absolutely no way to counter it at all. Percy's coming in the front door as well from Robo Danny. Legend Lord trying to get under shield. And then looking like he's giving up. Just as he's about to get there. He gets inside just about. But of course, unupgraded shield gens pretty much all the way around. Not going to afford him much protection. Percival's running him down. Lol at UD's T1 spam. That is a lot of T1 spam. You've got to give it to him. But what, if anything, it's going to give him? And there he goes. Legend Lord's ACU goes critical. And Team 2 down to just one player. And one player who's unlikely to be able to manage anything despite the outrageous torrent of T1 spam coming in the front door. It was a nice even game though. I mean, Team 1 has had the better of the play, it has to be said, for the majority of the match, but there's not been that much in it. There's been about kind of a 55, 60 to 40 map control differential between these two, and a decent play at any time. Could have gone either way. I think if they'd have managed to take out an ACU or something,
strategic launch detected,
with that earlier nuke, they might have been able to do something. But another nuke, this time from Team 1 and Vexy. Where's it going? Going straight over here to the mass T1 land factories. UD going up on the ridge with his ACU, wants to build some miasmas, that looks like, to bombard the base. A little bit of range, but as that nuke connects, takes out the majority of those earlier land factories. Outrageous amounts of flare coming off that nuke. Nice little movement, and they know exactly what's going on. They've seen UD's comm right there on the ridge. Broadsword flying over from Robo Danny, but Strogo going to stroll in the front door with his chicken. And he's going to be good for a second ACU kill. He's going to be good to close out this game. 51.5 minutes. Very nicely played from both sides. Like I say, it could have gone either way with a couple of key plays. I think if they'd have managed to maybe snipe a nuke defense with a strap bomber rush, Team 2, and then use that nuke a little bit more effectively. Not saying it wasn't a nice target placement. It did take the pressure off the western edge and the pressure off Legend Lore, but it was just a little bit too late for him to be able to do anything with at that point. That had managed to get it in here somewhere, or better yet, just managed to snipe an ACU at some point. That would have made it a lot easier, but still, nonetheless, not taking anything away from Team 1. They played a great game. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. As I said, I'm going to try and get a second one up this afternoon, so hope to see you in part 2. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle signing out.